The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
We are back. New York Yankee baseball, past, present, and future. I'm Ralph Tyko of the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. One of the hosts of the show is with us tonight, Robert Deininger. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Can't complain. It's California, and it's springtime, almost summer here. We're running a few days behind, but it's really nice. So, no complaints whatsoever. How's New Jersey?
Not bad. It's beautiful out today.
Good. You had a long, rough winter.
Yeah. It's beautiful out right now, 74 degrees. Can't complain.
Yeah, good. Good. You deserve it. A little springtime action, and summer hit us here, but it just hasn't caught up. Let's put it that way on the calendar. In any event, this is a weird week. This is the first time the Yankees showed any sign of humanity. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they got swept. I think the first time this season that they lost 3 games in a row.
I was shocked. I don't remember 2 or 3 times last year when they lost 3 in a row is all.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute that to? Are they going to miss Montgomery?
I think so. I was really expecting Montgomery to take it to the next level this year. I really thought he was going to contribute at least 12 wins at the back end of that rotation.
Right.
And Herman, he looks good here and there, but the last couple of starts he's been a little, well, at least this last start he didn't look so well.
Okay.
This guy.
Let me ask you about Sanchez.
Yeah.
What is with him, and is it just a slump? Is he going for the downs too much? Baseball going for the downs too much? I'll ask you that. But we might have talked about this last week. There are some 40-odd players hitting under 200 in baseball. That's craziness.
Yeah, his slugging, his on base plus slugging is one of the highest among catchers, but he's batting under 200. You love the run production and everything, but you'd like to see him do a little bit better as far as getting on base a little more with the base hits. Yeah. But he hasn't really had.
Yesterday he strained a hammy.
His groin.
Oh, groin.
He'll be out at least 3 to 4 weeks. Which
pulls a groin, you always have to wonder. I hope it's his own. Just because of the way life is in today's day and age. But thank God it is. And believe it or not, pulling a groin is a lot better than pulling a hammy.
Yeah.
Hammies can linger a long time.
And even though he hasn't had the kind of season everyone was hoping, his hits have been important hits. I mean, he's had a game-winning a home run just last week to tie it against the Mariners, which they went on to win. And he's had some big hits when he has made contact. So he's going to be missed the next month.
Okay, now Romine obviously steps in there. Do they have anybody to bring up that can be a contributor or just a stopgap?
Really just a stopgap. The name of the catcher slipped in my mind, but I know he was struggling prior to being called up.
Okay, he wasn't forcing his way onto any roster.
No, I think he was batting somewhere around 200 for the month of June down at AAA.
Okay. Torres and Gelbar, can't pronounce that, but they're both continuing to be consistent.
Yeah, Glaber, he has an RBI double tonight. Andahar have a 2-run homer the other day, and they continue to impress. It's a nice surprise, pleasant surprise.
Yeah, offensively and defensively. And at the beginning of the year, I thought that, and we talked about this, that it's a risk to have two rookies playing.
Yeah.
In the infield. It worked out so well that those two rookies were on the scrap heap in my fantasy league, and I picked them up, and I've been successful along those lines. So,
and the biggest concern with Andahar was his defense, and so far he's been pretty solid at third base. You can't really complain at all.
Not at all. They miss Fraser's spark. I know they must because I watch what a difference he makes for the Mets. And just on the bench, in the clubhouse, this, that, and the other thing, encouraging word.
Yeah, great clubhouse.
Yeah. Pitching. Let's talk pitching. Anything come to mind that stands out for you?
Well, this kid they got going tonight, Jonathan Loaiza, he had a no-hitter through 5 and gave up his first hit in the 6th inning, and they just pulled him because of his pitch count. But he's made 3 starts now in replace of Tanaka, and 2 of the 3 starts he's looked really good in them. But I definitely think the Yankees are going to have to go out and get themselves a starter.
Okay. Is there any chance in the world that the Yankees and Mets would ever deal big time?
Yeah, I was talking about that with my father today. I think they'd make a trade if there was a couple of nobodies, but a major deal, I just can't see the Mets and Yankees pulling the trigger on something like that.
Okay.
It'd be nice if they would.
Are there people that you talk to that say, well, maybe it's time for that?
None of the Mets fans that I know, they want to keep both their pitchers.
I hope Syndergaard and DeGrom. I certainly hope so. With that, although there's the old adage of, isn't it better to trade for a position player, if all things being equal, talent being equal, and what have you, than a hitter? You would think.
I mean,
or than a pitcher. In other words, you're more sure to get what's on a hitter's baseball card next year than you are to get what's on a pitcher's baseball card.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if you're trying to rebuild your team, by the time the prospects develop and come up, it's 2-3 years, and the pitchers of age, and they might not still be there. I mean, if the Mets could move them and get some top prospects in return, I would do it.
Yeah, I would never trade DeGrom. DeGrom has been so solid for these last 3.5 years, basically. I think he's got the lowest ERA in the National League as we speak. Monday, 25th.
I feel bad for him. If he was on the Yankees, he'd probably have like 12, 13 wins.
Yeah, and you know how it is with Syndergaard. He's going so great. Something injury-wise gets to him. He's almost like Tanaka in that way, where they go along and boom, they're injured.
Yeah, Tanaka, you can almost guarantee he's going to make a trip to the disabled list at least once or twice.
Found a new way of doing it this time, didn't he? Wasn't he the pitcher that was
he pulled both his hamstrings? Yeah.
Right? 2 hamstrings and an outing.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Ties a record for sure.
Yeah.
So, but and the look on his face. I happened to be watching that game, and the look.
Yeah, he knew it right away.
I knew it. looks up to the sky. He just had this scowl, and I'm unhappy for him, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, ever since Mantle, when I was a kid, I never really appreciated how much a team misses a guy like Mantle when he goes out. And the fans miss him, and career numbers are affected and what have you. But, some guys are just prone to injury. It's almost chronic.
Mickey Mantle, they said, was taped up like a mummy before games. He was injured all over the place.
Right. And, you could talk about him not being a particularly, how do you say it, vigilant rehabber. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he never heard the word, to be honest with you. And and it was a different time. Players today they're fit 360 days a year. There's no such thing as coming into spring training unless you're Bartolo Colon.
Yeah. I think I said before, Pete Rose said once the season was over, he didn't pick up the bat again until spring training. Now these guys nowadays, like you said, it's all year long. They're in a cage taking batting practice.
One wonders if that's the reason there are so many injuries, is that the body needs a recuperative time. And not getting it and not having a rest, a vacation, if you will, could be what's contributing. So you don't know if being in shape is too bad. I will quote this, though. Things are changing along the lines of injuries, where Dusty Baker was quoted, Dusty Baker never having been on the DL in his entire career.
That's remarkable.
Quoted as saying, when we played, we didn't even know what an oblique injury was.
That is something.
And it is, because you got 4 or 5 guys a week going on the DL, and oblique injury is right up there with a major cause. And why is it a guy like Dusty can play for 15 years and never go on the DL? And some of these guys are just amazing.
Yeah, I think some guys are able to take the workouts. I think some can't. I think you got to know when to rest and when to push ahead. But it definitely seems like there are a lot of unnecessary injuries.
And you got to have a manager who goes just as much by looking in a guy's eye, talking to him, asking him questions, as he does by analytics.
Yeah.
Good example of that is you're going to take a pitcher out in the 7th inning and bring in a relief pitcher because he's facing a lefty or he's this, that, or the other thing. You're admittedly, after 6 innings and facing the lineup 2 times, the 3rd time, the starting pitcher is much less effective.
Yeah.
But there's the graph. How about the reliever you're bringing in, who's been a bullpen pitcher, doesn't make the starting rotation, back-end bullpen reliever, and is he going to be more talented than a fading starter? And there's a fine line, and that's where numbers of pitches aren't important. It's necessarily important. It's the numbers of pitches that are in key situations where the adrenaline goes a little more. They got to reach back for that something extra, and how the guy feels. And a manager that can look at you and communicate with you makes all the difference. With that
Yeah,
in mind, I'm going to ask you how Boone is getting along compared to how Girardi was in your observation.
I gotta admit, I've been happy with Boone. The beginning of the season, I held back, but he's been doing a pretty good job. I have to say. I mean, yesterday I wasn't happy when he brought Shreve in, but they didn't really have too many other options to go to. I was hoping he'd bring.
He's more analytic than Girardi was. Am I correct?
Oh yeah. But so far he's been, things have fallen into place for him. But yesterday with Shreve coming in, I had a bad feeling right from the get-go, and sure enough, first pitch, the game was over.
Right. Well, try being a Met fan. Any week.
And I mean, the other day, there were the 7 home runs the Dodgers hit on Sunday, I think it was.
Right. I think it was like the third time anybody ever hit 7 home runs against the Mets in 50 years.
And even when they score runs, and their pitching is the bullpen, I think, is hurting them, right?
And what's really ironic is when they weren't scoring runs, their pitching was terrific. So
and it's a shame. It's a shame because they got off to such a good start, and you thought New York was going to have both teams that were going to have a great year. Yeah,
we were both fooled along those lines for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Bruce, I guess, was hurt for a while since March or something like that.
Right.
Jay Bruce.
Conforto's been horrible, coming around a little bit of late. Bautista has been a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, he's starting to hit.
Yeah, and they got Flores and a much better catcher than they've ever had in the last few years. And they got him for Harvey, so I think that was a positive. And a while back, a few days ago, they won like 3 games in a row. And we were starting to get a little bit of twinge of excitement, and they followed up with 3 losses, maybe 4 now. And tonight they're losing to Pittsburgh, which should make Al Blumpkin happy. And if it makes Al Blumpkin happy, how bad can that be? But still, it's been an abominable June for the Mets.
Yeah.
So what do you think will turn it around for the Yankees? They've streaked downward a little bit. What's it going to take, if anything, is just an anomaly?
I think it's just one of the ebb and flow of the season. I think they're going to be okay. Stanton is starting to turn a corner. I mean, his numbers are basically right where they were last year. He had a huge second half, but he's starting to come around. The 2 rookies are hitting well. Greg Bird is struggling, and if he continues to struggle, you might see Brandon Drury up here playing first base for the Yankees. But I think once
pushing him. That's kind of a little bit.
Yeah, because Bird, he's batting under 200. He's struggling to really produce anything at the plate, and they got Brandon Drury down there playing first base, and continue struggle. You might see a change
because he's been hurt for so many times.
Yeah,
we were waiting for him to get healthy and really put some at bats together, and this is a disappointment.
Yeah, and he started tonight, Greg Bird, and after 3 at bats, he got replaced by Neil Walker. So I don't know if he's hurt or if Boone just decides to pull him from the game.
Oh, well, or it could be a pinch hitter or
yeah. But yeah, very disappointing because he jumped on the scene in 2015, and injuries just have hurt his career thus far.
Something else I wanted to talk to you about, and that was the Yankees Old Timers Day. And as you know, maybe our audience does too. Cashman and Goose Gossage got into it a while back, and words were spoken, and no apologies were issued, and Gossage has always been an old school guy, and doesn't understand the new age player, and all my life I've listened to the old guys. I remember Roger Hornsby talking about, Roger Maris, and it was just generations that can't. There's always somebody with what I used to call a red ass, and one of them was Bob Feller, always grumping about the game, always bitching about the present day. It wasn't like it was when I played. Well, guess what? They had free speech. This is America. As does Gossage. He has the power of free. If he has an opinion, even though he can consider it bitching, this, that, and the other thing, if he has an opinion, he has the right to say it. And the Yankees retaliate by not inviting him to the 1978 40th year anniversary of that great Yankee team that would not have won the pennant without Goose Gossage.
Yeah,
so,
that's just not right.
Who suffers besides Gossage?
The fans and the Yankees a little bit, but the fans.
The fans are always the ones that suffer. I think it was a classless move on Cashman's part to hold them.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, you don't have to look at them. Just have them there.
Yeah.
But he has a dinner. Sit on the opposite end of the table. That'd be cool. That sort of thing.
Completely wrong.
Right. Or correct. You are, my friend. Completely wrong.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to note that. And, every organization makes classless moves at one time or another. The Yankees, the Mets, for instance, when tragically Gil Hodges dies, suddenly, spring training, at his funeral, the Mets announce that Yogi Berra is going to take over as manager.
Wow.
Calling the press conference. Is that classless or what?
Yeah, that's
get another luncheon, getting the press together to make an announcement. Everybody was there. It was horrible.
Wow.
Worse than the Gossage thing. But the Gossage thing was, it just hurts the fan. How about a fan that just wanted to see, an old guy that just wanted to see everybody on the field at the same time? Tragically, there are those who can't be there because they're not alive. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
no, it robs the fans. I mean, my dad, he loves the Yankees and the Bronx Zoo back then. I mean, he I was born during that time. He said he was listening to the Yankees on the radio while I was being born.
Literally, huh?
Yeah, in October.
Well, Robert, you make me feel old, my friend, but not oldest. Let's put it that way. I'm old, but not oldest. And actually, it's a privilege to be old because, you get to have your memories. As long as you're healthy and you have your memories, it beats the alternative. Robert,
sure
good
does.
show tonight. Thank you for
Thank you, Ralph.
the Yankees, past, present, future, on Comfortably Zoned Radio. Robert Deininger, I'm Ralph Tyko. We'll be back before you know it. So you take care, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for listening, everybody, and take care. Adios.
Good night.